Hi there, Tracy. I shut the countdown down.
Well, we're just jumping on.
Yeah. I mean, it's 12:02. That should have been done at 11:58, and then all of a sudden we're still going with dun 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 dun. Nah, let's just do it.
None of that. We're not messing around.
How are you doing this beautiful day, June 18, 2025, EP6, season 6. 6 years of doing this thing.
Yeah, so I'm doing great. Actually, this is, one of the most perfect days here in North Carolina, and I have something scheduled inside all day long, and it's killing me. if I am to be honest, it is like perfect temperature. It's like mid 70s. There's a breeze. It's blue skies. I mean, I want to take the dogs for a walk. I want to sit outside. I do not want to be inside behind a computer. But here we are.
Put your phone, get your earphones and your microphone, and then just go out there and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I could, but I would be distracted. If I get into nature, I'm always distracted. I'm like,
yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, hanging in there. How are things going for you?
Things are going well. I'm in sunny Maryland, Laurel, Maryland, right now, so it's pretty good. It's kind of cold.
What are you doing in Maryland?
Visiting my sister, and then we'll go down to North Carolina to see the children, and then do a couple things, and fly right back to Liberia.
How's Liberia? How's the plantation?
The plantation is going well. It's going very, very well. Things are growing. Got the butter pear growing, the citrus growing, soursop is growing. Put some pepper in between, and adding papaya in between.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so I'm gonna put papaya between there, or pawpaw as we call it, and just grow. So the farm. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I just learned recently about soursop. I was watching a video on that. What a bizarre but really beneficial fruit.
My dear,
it is the wildest looking thing. For any of you guys who've never checked out and have no idea what I'm talking about, you've got to Google soursop. It's really, it almost looks like it should be an underwater sea creature.
But did you taste it? Have you tasted it?
I haven't, and I want to so much. I really, really want to, but you can't. I mean, where do we get it here?
Tracy, I promise you, I'm going to get some for you. I don't know how, but we will see. You have it is juicy. Oh, it's juicy. Oh, but you see, the texture is kind of soft and mushy.
Yeah.
So you have to really know how your taste buds, but then it's sweet, citrusy, and just it's the best thing that you can have on a very very hot day. And when I
Mm.
say the best thing, you can either have it in ice cream, you can have it as juice, or it beats watermelon. It beats. I think it's running with pineapple on the same level, even with taste and but texture. You have to really
Yeah, the
have
texture is
that
wild. You
texture, that feel for it. But it's good.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was watching
it's good.
somebody,
Salsa.
so they're big, they can get big, and, like, somebody taking them, like, chopping them off the tree and then cutting them open. I'm like, "What in the world is that thing?" That is but it has
Yeah,
incredible health benefits. So it beats all
the
of those things you
medicinal.
mentioned in health benefits and beyond. So, yeah, that's really cool.
Can
So
you
many things
imagine the
too in Africa.
leaves?
So
So
much
many, and
medicinal.
it's taken and it's placed in, by farmer comes and take it and put it in the medicines and have the add whatever needs to be added on it, which is beneficial, yes, but then there's the side effect
Right.
versus you taking it directly, just naturally, and there's no side effect to it. Because even with the avocado seed, once you dry it, if you grind it and you dry it, it's also a medicine. The pawpaw seeds, the papaya seeds, dried, also medicines. So it's one of those things that we're doing on the farm to put teas in, and start producing teas. Once they start to grow, and testing and doing a taste, putting a little lab in there, test it, taste it, make sure it's properly done, and then ship it. That's the goal. So looking forward to it.
Oh, I love hearing that. Well, there's a lot of that innovation kind of getting back to basics, back to modern or back to nature medicine, back to, learning even in our own nature. I'm working on a new program now, because AI is all the conversation these days. Everybody's, oh, how do
Hmm.
we need to bring AI into our organization? How do we use it properly? How do we use it securely and effectively and all that? And so it's a big hot topic in organizational change right now and in
Mm,
leadership. And what I keep trying to tell people is that people worry about AI, like how do we partner with it effectively, we don't want it to take over, but all this. And what I keep telling people, it's like what we've always been talking about, like it starts within. And if we learn to master our HI, our human intelligence,
oof.
which is comprised of cognitive, emotional, instinctive, and intuitive intelligence, if we master how to utilize effectively that inner guidance system that we are given through these intelligences, then we will make the right course of
Mm,
decisions to partner with anything outside of us, uh, artificial intelligence included. So, this whole idea of how do we do it? We do it by learning how to masterfully work with our own intelligence.
yeah.
And
Oh
as
wow.
we do that, then we'll know how to partner with artificial intelligence more
Mm,
effectively. And we don't,
mm,
it's partnering. We don't have to be afraid of it. The thing that too about this, if you get into the quantum, aspects of these things, artificial intelligence always, it already is its potential. It already is what it can do and what it will do for years to come. We
yeah.
can only access it based on our own development of intelligence. So if we're only right now, just getting to the surface of what AI can do, it's
Mm.
because we've only mastered that intelligence within ourselves to be able to use it on that superficial level,
Oh
right?
wow.
As we develop, we then will start to recognize within AI its capacity to do more. It doesn't have anything to do with AI as much as it has to do with our development. And that's what a
Mm,
lot of people can't see. Animals, AI, all these things are here to work with humans on
mm,
this planet. It's a big experiment,
mm,
right? We're working with
mm.
humans to see how much humans can evolve,
Yeah.
how far we, because we're the differentiators. We've already seen it. We could take this planet and destroy it. There's no other living thing on this planet that can do it the way humans can. We are the
Mm,
experiment,
mm.
right? Everything here is to see which way we go, right? What are we going to do about it? And yet
Yeah.
we're looking out there going, well, what are these things going to do? We're missing the boat. We're the fish in the fishbowl, right? And if we start
Uh,
to realize that and start to act accordingly, well, what does this fish know how to do? Let's start to develop our inner gadgetry, our inner guidance systems, our
mm,
inner knowing, our all, because that's how we get clarity. That's how we become, we start to innovate and we start to see outside the box.
wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I'm trying to develop something that I can take into organizations and teach this, that incorporates all the other aspects of what I do with, the constellations work, and and all of it, because I believe now is the time. I mean, now has
Mm,
been the time. If we're just, there are some AI experts that say if you're just getting into it now, you're already way far behind.
hmm.
So
Y- Yeah, as you were talking, so Leonidas, thank you for joining us. Hi, is it legal to go on a safari to hunt animals in Liberia? Now this is what I love about eavesdrop. We AI in it now. You just drop this, and we like that. No, there are seasons where you go and hunt, but you can't hunt certain animals. There are elephants that you can't touch, endangered species, but you can during seasons. You can go and hunt. Thank you for that question. But when you're talking about AI, here's what I say. I was talking to Verlin. I wanted to make it very simple, and I said, "Sweetheart, we've been using AI. We've been using the help of computers to when you get an Excel and you have a million rows that you need to calculate. Are you going to go 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, or are you just going to do the formula up at the top and drag it to the bottom? As in, when you're dragging it to the bottom, you're using the intelligence of the computer. And the deal is garbage in, garbage out with computers. If you put something stupid or something crazy in there, it's going to give you, it's based on the user. So, how the user does it, and one of the main things is the working with prompts. When you work with a prompt within the artificial intelligence, it's taking a prompt from the human who needs to tailor what he or she wants. So I'm writing prompts now to I cannot write a prompt for innate coaching as you would. I cannot do it. I can say write a prompt about how someone can lead from X to Y. And when you write that prompt, Tracy, you're gonna go into the inner gadgetry of what you know about the innate theory of humans, and you will tell that thing, I want you to do this. And you my prompts for business is roughly 2 or 3 paragraphs. 2 or 3 paragraphs that I'm writing. I'm not just saying write a plan. No, write something that has these things in there that go into here's the information on. You can augment this if you have better information, but here's the information that I need in there. Bullets. Dot 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 dot. Moreover, second paragraph include, and it does it. And I said, no, you made a mistake there. You have to go and change this because this is what I want it to be. You are the one who's in charge. It's a tool. It's a tool that's used as every single thing on with computers, or even with your mechanized tools. Is your mechanized tools that help you get economies of scale. So
yes, well, and
please don't be afraid of AI eavesdroppers. It's go study, and it's your prompts that you put in there that truly make it work for you.
yes, and I
Mm.
do believe that AI, as we are seeing it develop, is going to be one of the best tools we are going to have as human beings to qualify and quantify the quantum field.
Oh my
Through
goodness.
Einstein and others, we've learned that there is this thing called the quantum field where every bit of information exists. Everything that
Woo.
ever has been, is, and will be exists in the quantum field right now, right?
Mm.
Because there is no time, right? The time space continuum, right? It's a continuum. We create timelines as humans. And so all the information is already there, it's already present. And and AI, as it's developing, or as it is in the quantum, is already at full potential. We can only access what we understand, to your point of prompts. The other thing that it's really incredible at is helping build awareness. I've had a lot of clients use it, and I'm just going to
Hey,
straighten
Carl,
this
how you
a little bit.
doing? Carl checking in from Wake Forest.
Hey, girl. Yeah, I've had a lot of clients use it actually as a coaching tool, to
Mhm.
because we work with a lot of frameworks in my coaching. And so it's like, okay, put all those frameworks in, all that information, your assessments, your all of that stuff about you. And prompted by asking it to organize it all in a succinct way, first of all, right? So now you can see all these aspects you take. I mean, how many people have like taken because of work or whatever, have taken all these assessments, right? And they all say similar things, but in slightly different ways. AI is great at organizing that. But the other thing is once it has that information, you can actually prompt it by saying, what might I not know or see about myself based on this information? And it can actually illuminate and help you build awareness of self
Oh my
or of
goodness.
other if you're putting information about other. But it is a fantastic tool because we all have blind spots, and most of our blind spots have to do with us. We are the fish in the fishbowl, right? Like, and we're thinking we're out there looking at the rest of the world, and really they're all looking at us. And so it's this idea of saying, how can it partner with me to be a more aware and intentional version of myself, right? If I want to reach my potential, we have been so conditioned to like focus so much on the outside world. How do I need to train myself based on the outside world? Forget the outside world. The outside world
Mm,
is only mirroring to you
mm,
what's going on inside of you. So if you get a hold on you, you're going to
mm,
see that mirrored in the outside world. It's not, we put the cart before the horse. Like we put things in the wrong order. We've been conditioned to look at it in the wrong order.
mm,
So AI is actually a
mm.
great tool to help us come back to ourselves, our true selves, right? What are
Yeah,
we about?
yeah,
What are we designed for? What's true for us? And then as it gives us feedback, we will know based on our own intelligence what resonates, what
mm,
makes sense to our head, to our heart,
yeah.
to our gut, to our
You know,
intuition,
I
right? We use our own inner prompts or intelligences to sift through that information and figure out what's true and what isn't. I mean, we all have the ability as human beings to read energy. I can read your energy. I can see if you're high or low. I can see if you're in a good mood or not a good mood. I mean, that's basic stuff. But we can also read whether people are telling the truth or not. I'm not the only one with that ability. We all can develop that
yeah.
within ourselves. And I think we've been so reliant on the outside world telling us what's true, telling us what's so, telling us what's reality, that we have lost track of our own ability to know what that is for ourselves. And we need to come back to that. That's where our stability is going to be. That's
Mm,
where our sense of groundedness and
yeah,
purpose is going to be, right? Not in waiting for the world to settle
yeah.
down and figure itself out, because guess what, guys? It's not going to. Not the way we have come from. It may have bits
Mm,
and spurts of calming down, but we're going Mach 10 moving forward. And if we don't learn how to develop
mm.
and learn to ride the wave, we're going to be crushed by it. And so there is no more
Yeah.
going back
You know,
to being able to
Tracy,
rely
I
on things.
yeah, I just what you said, it's a mirror of who we are, and it improves, increases your awareness and your intelligence, if I may say. Uh, A friend of mine used it the other day and said, "Tell me about myself." And she put in certain things in there. And the result was so accurate that how Star Trekky movies, the computer is so emotionless.
Yeah.
It just you are da da da, and it just told her you engage, and you tend you intend to engage with what did it say? It said something that was so her, and told her to beware as she's engaging with others not to do that, because what it does is it makes her seem like a know-it-all, or something in that framework, that her mouth was the size of her head. It and you Leonidas, thank you again. So what do you think? I'm just moving with the flow here. What do you think? Which professions are most at risk? It's the same thing that's said about computers. For me, my answer is the same thing that's said about computers. Computers would take jobs away, which it did take jobs away. However, you had new fields opened, cyber, the cyber field, network security,
Cybersecurity started. Yeah.
all these things opened up. Data analytics. I mean, just a bunch of things opened up that people who weren't seeing it as a threat pivoted in order to go and learn and do. It's not going to take away professions, it's just going to improve. New professions will be created, new economies of scale. Now, I'm writing an app with AI. I'm letting it do the wireframes. I'm letting it do so. Yes, it's taking a job away from the guy who was overcharging me because he was the only guy working and writing apps. But now I'm using AI to write the app, and then I'm going to ask him, "Hey, because I'm still going to go to him. Here's the version I have. Can you see what can you do about it?" I have a background in software, so I would know if he's faking or if he's doing whatever he's doing. The goal is where you have your profession. Tracy is consultant, and this innate, and you heard what she said. She's using frameworks. Tracy could be the same one saying, "I'm not touching it because all of a sudden now I'm losing my job." No, you're not. You have to go in and think about how you can elevate. There were certain things I was doing that took 6 months. Now with AI, it's
Six
taking
minutes.
me two. It's taking me minutes, but it's taking me 2 hours. Why? Because when it comes, I know what it needs to look like, so I
Right.
tailor it to what I want it to be, and not what the computer said it would be. Now it takes me, instead of 6 months, it's taking me 2 hours, and I'm
It's
sitting down laughing.
partnership. It's
It's part.
partnership.
Thank
We
you.
keep thinking in terms of polarity. Either it has my job or I have my job. What if we get to do a job in partnership, which is what you're talking about? The
Ooh.
AI does what it does best and fastest. We do what we do best. And that's really what it's about. It's an up leveling and giving us the opportunity. We are so dumbed down as human beings. Do you know, people, what you're capable of? You have no clue. You have no clue what you're truly capable of, because we have been all taught to just, this is the, you only can do what's in this box. And so then we are like, okay, tell me how to fit in this box. Okay, you're going to go to school and learn these things so you can have this title. And this is going to be where this sits in this box. And you're going to do these things just this way. We are busting out of that,
Mm,
people. We are capable of so much more. And if something goes away, it means, like Wulwyn said, that something better is there for us to fulfill in more fulfilling ways for us too. We're going to feel more fulfilled as human beings. We're going to feel more purposeful. We're going to feel like we made more of an impact. We're going to feel like we're living, as opposed to just punching the clock and da, da, da. We were never meant to be these animals like mule, just like pulling things
mm.
along the way the world tells us to.
Oh.
And we are finally coming into a time where we're awakening to that. And if you want to know a little bit about what that looks like, read my book, Looking In.
Mm.
Sorry, massive plug for the book, but I also have been called to do that because that's why it was written. It was written so that we realize that we need to get this information from within. If we keep looking at the outside world, we're going to continue to be confused. You notice how the more you pay attention to what's going on outside, the more confusing it gets?
Wow.
There's a reason for that. What that is telling us is the answers we're looking for are not going to be out there anymore. They are in here. And if we don't start looking in and figuring this out and using AI as a tool to help us decode, right? To help us learn what these capacities are that go beyond what we've been, practiced and conditioned to believe, we we will be miserable. I
Mm.
mean, I'm not a dooms gloom person. Anybody who knows me, I'm a reality person. I'm a fact based person. Like, this is the facts.
Mm.
You're either going to,
Yeah.
we could call it pivot, shift, whatever. I look at it as an opportunity. I mean, I had a client call me and he says, "Do you have just a few minutes? I'm
Ooh.
getting ready for an interview and I just want to throw some things by you." And he was telling me all these things, and should I say this? Should I do this? And I said, how much time and energy have you put into preparing for this interview? Oh gosh, it's been a 2 month process because he's gone through a series of interviews and he keeps getting asked back. And he says, oh, it's been
Right.
about 2 months of doing this. I said, okay. And do you realize do you feel you have done your due diligence on this company that's interviewing you, that you know as much as you possibly could know at this point about this company? Yes. And you and I work together to do all the frameworks I have for you to be able to discover, define, and articulate and own who you are, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so enjoy it. There's
Joy.
nothing more for you to do. Enjoy it. I think that's the piece we forget. I'm like, enjoy the process. Your
Mm.
event is planned. Your trip is planned. You've made the reservations. Now go enjoy it. Go
Mm.
enjoy it. Go enjoy the
Oh,
process.
wow.
Be present.
Mm.
Yeah, enjoy. And what because he says, oh, I've made
Mm.
peace with whichever way it goes. Perfect. Now you can just really enjoy it. And that's the
Wow.
piece, is that let's enjoy this process. It is chaotic, it is crazy, it is confusing, but I'll tell you, if you want clarity, you're going to find it inside you, not outside you.
Yeah. Yeah. Tracy, as you were talking, the one thing that I think the next question would be, if I was asking these questions, or on his intelligences, oh, all of a sudden it has all my information, because now it's knowing who I am. Guess what? Your information is already out there, not even
Yeah,
with on the
totally.
computers. Imagine, I imagine the nosy neighbor. She knows, or the person who is cognizant rather of their terrain. I'm not going to say the nosy neighbor, because he or she opens the window and sees you, your mannerisms. She has collected years of information. You get up at 6, you have your coffee because you have your window open. You come outside and get your newspaper. You look down and you swat a spider. You look all around to see no spiders are there. You go back in the house. I mean, your information is already out there. Don't that fear of your information. What is that? And Tracy, I want to ask that question. What is this fear? I know there are certain things. I'm not going to give my social security number. I'm not going to give pertinent information out. What is the fear that, oh my goodness, this thing is going to have all my information in it?
You know what it
Where
is?
does that fear come
You know
from?
what that
Tell
fear
me.
is actually? Is because we have been conditioned to be who we aren't. And so we have an innate fear of people seeing us for who we are because we don't really know who that is. So I certainly don't want you to see something about me that I'm not aware of, right? I want to know it first. I want to be in control of it. I want to be in control of that information so that I am giving you. We've been taught, instead of just being who we are, we've been taught to be a certain version of who we're supposed to be. And so people
Mm,
have an innate fear, not innate. I mean, I think it is innate because I think it's gone on and been passed down generation after generation. It's become a part of our blueprint and DNA, is that don't show your hand. You are in control of what people know about you. Let me tell you something. After working for 3 years at
mm.
Butner, when I used to work with inmates in federal prison, and I was not privy to their information. I knew them by first name only. And I started asking them questions and telling them about themselves, and they swore that I was reading their profile. And they would say, how do you know this? And I'd say, you're
There you
telling me.
go.
You're telling me. Like you said about the neighbor.
Yes.
I am observing you. I am listening to you. I'm reading between the lines. Yes, okay, maybe I have more decoding skills than some, but still, you are telling me. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have, I'm getting all this intel from you. So if you're showing up in the world, your information is
Mm.
out there. People
It's
can
out.
reach, there's nothing to hide. That's the irony, is that we think we can put on these things and look a certain way or do certain things or have certain credentials or titles and
Hide.
all of that, and it's going to get, I'm
Mm.
sorry, we are now in a time where people are really emerging from that false sense of this is who the person is, and we're actually paying attention to our ability to read who they really are. And so it's,
Mm.
to your point, it's out there. If you are alive
It's
and you're
it's
in the world, your information about you is there already. And if you're trying to
Tracy.
hide it, no bueno.
It's a lie. Tracy. Tracy. I so I go to meet a client. So it's with this organization here in Liberia. Oh, not here. I'm in America, huh? Okay. It's an
There
organization
in
in
Liberia.
Liberia. I know. And we're sitting in this conference room. The analyst comes and he sits, and he's like this, and then he does this as they're talking to him. And I'm looking at him, and just decoding and decoding and decoding and decoding. And afterwards, I go, "You've heard this conversation before, haven't you?" He says, "Hmm." I said, "But this time it's going to be different." He goes, "Mhm." Like, and I said, "The only thing that I can tell you is give it time." He says,
Mm.
"Okay." Then he answers, "Okay." Because just what you're saying, if you're sitting near someone who has a gift of reading the room, who has a gift of looking, they just need to look at you for a few seconds. And then if you open your mouth to say anything, this morning I was discussing this with Berlin, and I said, sweetheart, everybody has given out who they are. However, they tend, just what you said, they want to give a version, is that version that they will push. And she says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because we don't listen." Someone, a, a, a soursop tree cannot create a mango fruit. A mango tree cannot create a pineapple. So when you see a mango attempting to create a pineapple, you have to look at it and say, "Huh, what's going on here? There's something. It's not aligned. It's not in alignment."
Dan got involved and
So
started cross sectioning things.
when when someone tells you who they are, and then they act another way, don't take who they told you who they are. Take the actions. The actions is what they were really telling you. You see, Tracy, and this thing comes to me. See, you see Tracy on here. Tracy may come across as a serious person. When I say serious, there's no, you are to the point,
I'm
and
direct.
you
I'm direct.
direct, and so. But
Yeah,
but
I'm direct.
when you meet Tracy in person, I would say it's that grandma who acts, you guys, and as soon as you see, well, oh baby, oh,
Yeah.
oh baby, you were so. I'm looking at Tracy. Your humanity just blows through, and not saying it blows through facade or anything. Your humanity is bigger than your words.
Mm.
Yes, that's it. Your humanity is bigger than your words. And I'm looking at you when I'm engaging with you. I go, oh my goodness, I got to bring a truckload to receive this woman, because you're coming full blast of goodness. And
Hmm.
I don't want any paycheck from you. This
No,
is just being
I know. I
truthful and,
appreciate
and
that. Very
speaking.
humble.
But your goes Leonidas again. He says, "Oh, she is this female or male?"
Please tell us. Yes, we can
Says,
reach out to you properly.
"I also think AI won't replace software developers. Only another developer who's really good at using AI could do that. But jobs like truck drivers or taxi drivers are always at risk of being replaced." And then he goes to say, or she says, "So permit me until we know the." In China, robots are replacing warehouse workers and driverless tractors are working the fields.
Yes,
Yes. Yep.
yes.
Yep.
And we need some
And
upgrades. I was just watching a video the other day of a
uh-huh.
taxiless taxi, or like, a self-driving taxi, and
Yeah.
it hadn't been inputted with prompts for buses that are carrying children. So when you're coming this way and the bus stops and puts the stop sign out, and then the kid starts
Yes.
to cross, these taxis were just, and they were testing it, so they weren't actual children, but they were, the little robot
Wow.
children, and they were just running over these children, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is why we need to make sure the humans are testing the AI to make sure that these things will not happen, right? And I think that's the point, is that we still want to partner. It's not about unleashing AI into these spaces and letting it just roam free without any partnership. But at the same
Mm.
time, I think the same thing could be said of us as humans, being those fish in the fishbowl. There's some
Yeah.
things we've just been unleashed. We were just left to figure it out, and we've made some pretty harrowing mistakes on
Mm.
this planet Earth that need to be rectified. So, like anything left unchecked, right? When it isn't in partnership, where it just can rule the roost and be in control, is never good. I mean, we can see that by the rise and fall of civilizations, is that
Mm.
everything needs checks and balances for a reason. And I don't believe
Wow.
it's a big daddy needs to look over your shoulder reason. I believe we are made to be in partnership. I believe that
Mm.
we get more juice out of life when we're in partnership. I
Mm.
believe that true partnership is something different than what we've even mostly engaged with and learned. We've learned codependency, but I don't know how well we've actually learned true partnership. But things like AI, which are going to challenge us continually to be above and beyond, like again, like making the driverless taxis that aren't programmed properly, can be terribly detrimental. We need to make
Mm.
sure we're taking these partnerships seriously, and we're committed to making sure we're playing our role to the best we can, right?
Yeah.
And we're not overlooking our responsibilities within that partnership.
Yeah.
So, I see that we're moving into all of this. There always has to be an undoing before there can be, our emergence of things, right? We use all sorts of examples: the phoenix rising, the butterfly out of the chrysalis. Like, transformation can
Mm.
be icky, it can be difficult, it can be
Ooh.
painful, even, and I think that's what we're experiencing. But if we make it about, like, if a caterpillar going through the chrysalis phase made it all about the chrysalis phase, if they thought the rest of their life was just the chrysalis phase,
Mm.
that would be harrowing,
Yeah.
because they're basically dissolving to
Mm.
become the butterfly. So if they're like, if that would be like, going to hell, where you just have to keep repeating the same horrible thing over and over again for eternity. So that's not really what we're here for. We're not here to
Mm.
make a transitional phase reality. We're here to realize it's a part of the ingredient in becoming something more.
Mm.
And if we can start looking at these times as becoming something more, and things are not what they seem, folks. If you
Yeah.
think it's one way, get ready. It's about to show you another backside of itself. And that's where, when people are like, so and so's like this, or so and so's like that, or this is that, I mean, I'm always like, get ready, because you're going to find that your way of being so certain that you're right is going to be blown up. Right? So we get to be humble in that too. You may be
You
wrong,
know,
and I'll say that all the time. This is what I believe now, but I am open to having my opinion changed if I am not correct. Right?
correct.
Um, so
Tracy, as we were talking earlier, I think when I talked about your humanity flowing through, didn't know that it was going to lead to this aspect. There has to be a portion of AI or anything that's being created. There has to be a portion for that says humanity. And how does it learn humanity? How does it know? Because I went to Planet Fitness yesterday. The system's not working. I try to, get back on to say I want a 1 month of to come in and exercise. The lady says, "I'm sorry, you can't do it because we're right in our billing circle on the 17th of the month, so it's not going to allow you. So please come back tomorrow and redo it." And I go, "Yeah, but I want to exercise now." And you saw that I could pay my money and do everything. So what she says, "Oh, my manager wouldn't allow this. So I'm sorry you have to come back tomorrow." I said, I refuse to accept this. I said, I refuse to accept that your system, which isn't working, and you've seen it twice doing the same thing to me, it has done the same thing to me. You have to understand that it's not my fault. And so you would have to pay the $20, sir. I said, no, I'm not going to pay the $20. I'm going to come in here for free and exercise because
you
I'm going
already
to
have
pay it.
my money.
She goes, and this is where humanity comes in. She looks at me and she says, "Okay, you can go ahead." When we're creating these systems shouldn't be the total sum of it. There has to be inputs into the system that allows for humanity. I remember going through the foreclosure in 20 from 2013 to 2015. Wells Fargo, and I'm going to say it here, Wells Fargo. I would talk to them, and they said, "Oh yes, it's great. You can go through a forbearance period." And right after they said that, they told me, "No, you cannot go through a forbearance period." And I'm looking at them, and I said, "What are you using for your criteria?" She goes, "Here are the different things." Da, da, da. And she listed those things, and I said, "Where's the humanity in that?" I said, "Where's the humanity in that? I've been with you for roughly 10, 15, 20 years of paying on time. And this situation is a one-off situation where I'm in I'm a chrysalis also. I'm going through the change. And where is the humanity for you to understand this? That I'm not that person who sat and said, I don't want to pay." And she goes, "Well, our system is it does not allow for that." I'm like, "No, it's not your system, it's you who isn't
You're
allowing
choosing to
for
use the
that."
system
You
as
see,
an
so when we
excuse.
are
Yeah.
correct, so when we as we go out, there's the piece of being humans, of being. And go back, Leonidas, maybe you I think you just started. Go back and replay all of our our podcast, and you will hear these things. Human being, we are in the present. We have to understand that piece when we have given all the different checklists. The last piece that's not on that checklist is I'm dealing with a human being, and with this human being, there's something that's different. There's something that I can read and say the computer cannot read emotions. The computer cannot read, doesn't have that intelligence to know that when I'm looking at Tracy, when as she's speaking to me, even though some people can fake it, but as I'm speaking to her, I see the issue, right? So, hey, Leonidas, thank you. You're a man. You're a Greek by nationality. Really appreciate that.
Greek?
Uh, so,
Is that what you
so,
said?
so it's important that as we're creating any system, and this is you in your field, whatever you're doing, you have to leave that space where humanity has to take its rightful place. If the future lies with AI and autonomous transport, should the U.S. focus on improving electric vehicles or prioritize all extraction for internal combustion engine?
Well, I'll tell you one
Tracy?
thing. I think joy is, like I said to my client, enjoy it. I'm never going to stop driving my vehicle. I love driving my vehicle. It brings me great joy. I have a vehicle that
Mm,
I can love to drive. So,
mm,
I also don't want to be forced ever to be, like, well, this is the trend. So everybody's going to, like, nobody's driving their vehicle. Well, first of all, I enjoy it. It's not about being in
mm.
control, it's about enjoyment. Right. I love that's why I like stick shifts because you can actually drive the
Ooh,
car.
stop that, Tracy.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, like, I think we, as humans, the humanity is also, AI, they don't eat, they don't sleep, they don't, it
Mm,
doesn't have joy over anything because it doesn't, as Wulwyn said, express or experience emotion. Now, not to say it can't do that at some point. Maybe it can, maybe it can learn. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but I'll come back to watch that. But I think it really is important to ask those further questions. It isn't just about what can it do? What can we do? What can we take off our hands and let AI do? Again, this is a partnership thing, but we don't want to let go of the things that make our lives enjoyable either. Just because we can.
mm,
Just because we can
mm,
doesn't mean we should, right? So I think as we
mm,
have more opportunity to say, oh, AI can do this for me, or this for me, or this for me. I mean, one of the things, I've always been a writer, and I think I consider myself a pretty good writer. And I love using and partnering with AI to write. I mean, some people thought, oh,
Mm.
you're going to continue to do your own writing. I'm like, well, yes, but it does a great job of organizing my thoughts. So I can do it faster now. And I actually look forward to getting on ChatGPT and be like, okay, like this is what we're working on today. Can you help me with? I love it. And I know a lot of other people who feel the same way. So I think anytime we partner, whether it's with another person, with AI, with whatever, it's that
Mm.
collaboration. We're made to be collaborative beings. So when we can collaborate, there is more
Mm.
joy in that. It isn't about owning our value based on what we can do, right? Oh, I'm a writer and I don't want to use AI because then that means that I'm not writing it and I can't own it. And like that, like we really get to move beyond the ego driven value system and realize that what really brings value to our hearts and our experience is partnership, is collaboration. We
Mm.
love it as human
Mm.
beings, right? Maybe in different ways because we have different
Mm.
personalities, but we get to stop thinking we have to be, the independent solopreneur who does everything and is self-made and I've done everything myself and that's my value is that I am so fabulous that I've done all this myself. That's ego. I don't want to be valued by my
Mm.
ego anymore. I don't know about you. I actually want to create value in
Mm.
collaboration with others. So
Mm.
I invite people to try that on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means we're gonna have to put down our egos. It's gonna mean that we may our stuff will be borrowed because it's out there. Well, I said that first. Like, was it ever really yours though? Because there are no new ideas. There's just ways that we
Mm.
may work with them differently from generation to generation. So I think if we can get over the fact that we created it and get more into the juice of the creation process, especially when we share it with others, I think we'll learn
Yeah.
that that's a lot more enjoyable and fulfilling.
Yeah. There, as you were talking, I remembered I spoke on here a while ago about I think um, it was a plant that's only in South Africa that an azora. No, it's not an azora, but it's in the aloe. It's in the aloe uh,
Yellow
um,
family?
type. Yeah, the aloe family, and it's used. It's medicinal, and it is so what a niche driven for health. It's in a health niche that you can't come in and take it and own it. Pharma went in there into these people's village and wanted to own it, and they refused and
Put
said,
a
"No,
patent
this
on
is for the world. This is
it.
yeah, put a patent on it. This is for the world. This is for how it helps humanity." The goal here, and I think with AI and Tracy, I love how you talk about partnerships. That it's the people who are behind it, they can tailor it to do certain things. And I believe they're doing that. They're tailoring it to do certain things. But then there's also, I call them the revolutionists who see that they're tailoring to do it one way. And then these guys are going, oh, no, we're not going to use it that way. We're going to use it for this way. Right. So I'm going to use it for good. I'm going to use it to what makes me happy about it is I can go and say, how can I become a better taxi driver? I work within a firm that assigns me six gigs per day or per day, and I make 36 because I work six times a week. How can I improve my efficiency using my car on a road that has traffic between da 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 and da da da? It's the population within this town is this amount of people with vehicles are this and then when you give it that, that's you, Mr. Taxi Driver, who didn't, who said, "Hey, I was going to take my job." You will become so efficient because it would tell you, because it says, look at the traffic data within the town of X. It will find it for you and tell me how I can incorporate it in order for me to become the best taxi driver in the world. It's going to say, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, and then so it's shifting our heads from fighting. And Tracy, I think this one will be called partnering. And it's not just partnering with AI, it's just partnering. It's partnerships that are so important because Tracy has something unique about her. I have something unique about me that we say, let's do this podcast. You have something unique about you that you cannot reach to the place where you're supposed to reach in this in this time frame. That there has God has put other people on here that you got to go and find and search and then get them. Know yourself first, get them, and then you guys hold hands and do this work. So I'm happy for AI. I am if the oils combustion, and as you Tracy, I didn't know you were a stick shift girl.
Oh,
I
heck
I like
yes.
to I like to handle it on a hill, where I'm not using the brakes, right? And I do the clutching. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da, da, da.
Yeah, you're like rolling. Yeah, no, totally. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. I was the only person in Europe when I was studying over there that could
Uh-huh.
rent a car and drive it because they were all stick shift. And most of my friends never learned how to drive stick. And
Automatic.
so I was like,
Look at that.
yeah, now
Man,
you're stuck.
there's something about a stick that you don't even feel it when you shift, right?
Mhm.
You just
Yeah.
da, 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 da.
You're partnering with the car. You're partnering with the car, and
There you
that it
go.
feels like you're doing something. And we want to work with. I think we do. I think really joy comes from not having things done for us all the time. Is to really get in and get our hands on things and do our part. And so if life feels meaningful, it feels purposeful, it feels like we've made a difference, when that's the case. So, yeah, I love what you said too. It really depends on what our intention is and how we use it. I mean, AI is a tool just like a hammer. You could build a home with a hammer. You could also club somebody over the head and kill them with a hammer. I mean, like,
Mm,
and it's not the hammer's fault. It's the person who is using the hammer, right? And so I really think that we need to look at these things seriously and say, I mean, it's like gun laws. Like guns are bad. No, guns are neutral. You can if you are a hunter or if you need to get your own food, a gun is going to be a great tool, but it can be dangerous, right, in the wrong hands and for the wrong reasons. And so I think we need to just think about that. Like, how do we use our tools effectively and properly? How do we take responsibility
mm,
for how we're using our tools? In addition to partnership, because
yeah.
this is another big thing about responsibility. And I have
Mm,
seen that
wow.
responsibility is a struggle for humanity. We have all gotten especially in the United States, we have gotten to be a challenge taking responsibility. And that's, I think, because we become so reliant on things. And it's like, well, it's not my fault. I mean, the system's not working. It's that nothing I can do. Like we're so big on just like pushing responsibility someplace else. And so the times are forcing us to take
Mm,
responsibility for our part in things. And it's not an easy segue. It's
uh,
not an easy, transference of energy, and it's time, right? So that's what we're here for. We're here to have these conversations, right? And
wow.
engage people
I
in this thought
know.
process.
Wow. Wow. Tracy, we're about 5 minutes. I know we have a 1 o'clock stop. What's on your mind? I know this has been too quick.
Yeah,
This has been a
I've noticed that.
fast 1 hour. Yeah.
I've noticed
So
that about time
what's
lately.
going on? What's on your mind? Share and take us for this next 3 minutes, and then we close up.
Yeah, I guess I just invite people to stop paying so much attention to what's going on outside of them, and start to
Mm,
pay attention to what's going on inside of them, because we're getting cues and clues all the time of where our minds, our hearts, our bodies, and our souls want us to focus. And we just override it because no, we got to check the email, and we've got to check the news, and we've got to like check in with our neighbor, and we've got to like, do stuff for the kids. And I'm not saying don't do those things, but one of the things I said to a friend recently, she was saying she's a huge book reader and she likes fiction. And I said, well, what are the stories you like, in fiction? She's, well, I find that they're the ones that, kind of have something to do with what's going on in my life. And, I can learn, through their story. And I said, I think that's lovely, but I also think it's a distraction.
Mm.
What if you're using other people's stories as a surrogate for you understanding your own? And she's like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, I
Mm.
never looked at it from that way. And how many times do we say it's a good thing? Like, I need to distract myself because I've had a hard day, or I need to, whatever. And really, what our systems ourselves are begging for is for us to pay attention, not to
Mm.
distract ourselves in a show or a book or a podcast or getting into a conversation about somebody else's business. Or it's literally to close our eyes and say, what do I need to know? What are you trying to tell me? Whether it's
Mm.
our heads, hearts, guts, or intuition, or all of them trying to scream at us something, paying more attention. People talk about meditation. What I find it's quiet time where those parts of me can talk to me. And it's when I learn the most. And then I can apply it to the other things that I'm experiencing in my life, in my world. But if I don't start getting that inner guidance, I can be easily led astray, and I can easily make up stories that aren't true about my own reality
Mm.
and myself within that. So I just invite people to look in, right? To start listening, right? Being present with yourself more.
Oh, wow. You know, this is my first time traveling, and I land on my feet, meaning there's no jet lag. There's no, I'm tired. I need to rest for a couple of days, right? Or I'm not even going to get on the podcast because I've been on a plane for 24, I've been traveling for 24 hours with a couple layovers here and there. But no, it's landing on my feet, coming, creating this office space as quickly as I could in my sister's uh uh basement per se, right? And just I have to do it. I have to. So what I'm learning, I know we have what I'm learning is this. Things that I have to do, I must do.
You get
Things
to.
I have to do it. You're not on vacation. Even if you're on vacation, people die on vacations. So you can't say, "Oh, keep your habits." If it's exercising for 4 hours, you're on vacation, kind of exercise for 30 minutes. But don't stop doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you read or read, if you're a writer, write. Don't stop what you're doing because to pick up again, it's kind of hard. So you have to stay in the flow. But Tracy, I tell you, pay attention, meditate. I wrote down what are those cues and clues. Love that. But it's so good seeing you. Uh, we shall definitely see you in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, for sure. And
Uh,
thank you to everybody who joined us today.
oh man.